Hey guys, it's Crossroads here. Today I wanted to talk to you about a big impact to Robinhood and SoFi in the long term and a little bit in the short term as well. What can impact both of them? It's the Invest America Act, and it's, of course, part of HR 1 in the 119th Congress. We'll look at the bill here in just a second. But let me turn it over to Vlad Tenev. He recorded this at the White House today. There was a number of folks like Vlad available.
All right. Vlad Tenev, co-founder and chief executive of Robinhood, here at the White House for the Invest America Summit, which is an amazingly important initiative to give every child born in this country, 3.7 million babies a year, $1,000 in a brokerage account where they can invest in a diversified portfolio of American companies. I think this is super important. Brad Gerstner, the Invest America team, have done a nice job, and Robinhood has committed and already actually executed upon putting our technology resources to bear to make these accounts delightful and easy to use, and actually making them available to children. So we showed that to a lot of folks here, and I think people are excited. So I'm hopeful that this initiative actually shows the power of investing in the American system and capitalism for all Americans. All right, Vlad 10.
Now, this is sandwiched in the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. Whether it passes or not remains to be seen. If it does, this is in it unless there's modifications, and there certainly could be. We'll have to see. But ultimately, this is something that was Brad Gerstner's brainchild. He, of course, was known as AltCap on X, very well-known and famous investor. And Brad, right there, is right next to Vlad Tenev and a lot of others, too, that are involved in this. And I'll show some of those here towards the end of the video. Has been basically floating this idea that it would be a great thing to give newborn Americans $1,000 seed money in investments, have that invested in American companies through an index, not leverage or anything like that, but something like the S&P 500, where only the kids can touch it, which is very important because, believe me, there's some parents out there that would just say, my kid's future doesn't matter. I need the money now. I've seen that in my friends' lives. As an Alaskan resident, permanent fund dividend check happen all the time. Google it if you're not sure what that is. Thankfully, I had good parents that allowed me to have that money as a seed for investing and also for some other things as well. Regardless, this gives $1,000 of seed money all the way through January 2029 when it expires. And in essence, $5,000 can be contributed to it each year, whether that's from parents, whether that's from the children themselves, up until the age of 30 when these accounts phase out and they can become some other vehicle as far as like our IRAs, or they can be accessed without the massive tax penalties. Now, there are ways that you can use this too once you turn the age of 18, such as investing in your own business, buying your own home, investing in your education, and that sort of thing as well. And $1,000 is not a lot, but it does a few very important things. One is it illustrates to young people as they're growing up, they realize, oh man, I got $14,000 and I'm only like 13 years old. This is great. And they realize and recognize right then the power of compounding. And hopefully, even if their parents can't teach them financial literacy, and there's many Americans that cannot, hopefully they end up realizing like, hey, this is something that I absolutely need to look more into when they become an adult. Now, that will not always happen, but I do think that a lot of people will be very excited in this sort of bill. Now, I want to show you, even more importantly, the user interface. Now, this is a little funny tweet here by Vlad demonstrating the user interface. And I think that's exactly what he's doing here. So let's take a look at what this UI looks like specifically. Keep in mind, this is a prototype. It can change. Also, you have to put the child's social security number in there. They have to have a social security number. It has to be an American citizen or a legal permanent resident. Otherwise, you don't get one of these accounts. So a couple more steps, but it's still really fast. So claim your $1,000. Put in your child's name, I'm sure social security, that sort of thing as well. So a few more steps, signed by Donald Trump, opening account, and there you go. And so you can see some different holdings here. Now, I don't think, if I understand the bill correctly, that they can invest in individual assets like this. I know they can't do leverage. I'll have to reread that. But I think that these are broad ETFs, though that does change at a certain age as well. So as you go through, one of the coolest features is this. Now, this is something that they showed in that gold event in San Francisco, where they demonstrated Robinhood strategies. And they talked about the power of compounding. And in essence, what you're able to do, and you see at the very bottom here, is change the yearly contribution amount. Again, it maxes out at 5,000. And yes, employers can contribute to this as well. And it really shows you, like, if you slide it up or down, very snappy, easy interface, it shows you what that final number will be. And so this is a very powerful tool, not just for the children, but also for the parents. Now we'll go a little bit further as well. So you can look at it all the way, ends at the age of 30. It doesn't mean that you no longer can have an account, but you can't have this kind of account anymore. And instead you can roll that over into an IRA, or you can just withdraw the funds, use it to buy a house, start a business, whatever. It's a great thing. And so ultimately, that's what it looks like, at least for now. So why is this such a big deal? Well, it does touch a lot of different banks. So non-bank trustees approved. And if you look at the actual bill itself, again, they're called Trump accounts, and they're found in this massive so-called big, beautiful bill. If you see it passing as it is, unmodified, then this is part of it. All the way through January 2029, if a child is born in America as American citizen or legal permanent resident, they get this $1,000 of seed money. And it restricts this to basically trustees that are banks. So, hey, SoFi is natively a bank, or another person who demonstrates to the satisfaction of the secretary the manner in which the person will administer the trust. And it mentions here as defined in section 408N. Now, looking down all this legal nomenclature, in essence, it brings us to this list here. This list is not created, by the way, specifically for this bill, but it is noted by the bill itself as far as these non-bank trustee list. And so all of these are eligible. Now, as you look, there's going to be 3 different pages beyond just banks. So include banks in all of this. But some of these are very, very niche. Now, of course, you have Apex Clearing Corporation. I don't think that they have individual consumer accounts. I don't think that that's a way that they're going. Brethren in Christ Foundation, I don't know what that is, but I can't imagine that's going to be a huge, significant deal. You do see Charles Schwab, of course. Shouldn't be surprised by that. You're going to see a lot of things, like even one of those that we see here is Pershing. That's Bill Ackman's LLC. And so perhaps they can do this sort of thing as well. Of course, Robinhood is here. Serb National Federation. I think that that's probably quite small. It's very niche. There's a lot of those like that as well. But there is a lot of competition. So why do I see this as so bullish for Robinhood especially, but also for SoFi? Okay, so first, 3.5 to 3.7 million. That's the number of children that will probably be born this year. And on average through 2029, I think it'll actually slowly start to decrease a little bit. That's a topic for a different time. But regardless, that's a lot of individuals. Is Robinhood or SoFi going to get all of those? Absolutely not. But what will absolutely work is that both are positioned very well as far as their age demographics. Now, we don't have specific numbers for SoFi as far as their age of their clients on their invest platform, but we see here for Robinhood, they have 25.8 million active accounts. There's more than that, but this is about 10% of America's adult population. And we can also see how they skew. Now, this again is from their investor day, so it's a little bit dated, but it's probably roughly here as well. Median Robinhood customer age is 35. That is very young for a brokerage, and you can see just like how many millennials that really stacks up to. Gen Z is not really well into their earning curve yet, and Alpha certainly isn't as well. 27 and under, just finishing up college, starting careers. It takes a little while, but this age range, under 43, are the people that are having babies, not the 44-year-olds so much. Really rarely the 60-year-olds. And so this is what you want to look at specifically. So almost 75% of Robinhood's customers are in that childbearing demographic. Now, what is it for other brokerages? I'm not going to take the time to research that. You're welcome to. But I can tell you it's not nearly this young. And so you might say, oh, well, if Robinhood is 10% of the brokerages out there, basically brokerage service, maybe they'll get 10% of the adults. I think that this is quite a bit higher just because they're likely somewhere around 15 to 18% of that childbearing age of people that have active Robinhood accounts. And of course, there's some inactives that are familiar with this as well. Now, there's a lot of people also out there that don't have any kind of account, that they don't invest at all. And so we actually see a pretty interesting poll from Gallup. If we scroll down, we see US stock ownership is about 62% right now. It fluctuates, certainly, but it seems like it's certainly on the rise. Although it's still not at the all-time high. This is in 2004. And we can see a breakdown of this US stock ownership by subgroup. Let me zoom in a bit here. We can see it's disproportionately for upper income folks. 87% of upper income own stock or stock-like assets. Those are ETFs, 401ks, those sort of thing, versus just 28% for the lower income. That's one of the important things of doing this, I think. Skews also towards the educated, and also as you age, it also skews higher. It's a little bit less common for 18 to 29-year-olds, although that is changing over time. And also for minorities, it's disproportionately more for non-Hispanic white adults than it is for African Americans, than it is for Hispanic adults as well, and also skews towards the married. So my point is that there is a large number of American adults that don't have any kind of investment here. And if we look at these childbearing ages here, yeah, there's still a lot out there. So Robinhood is going to capture probably many of the people that are familiar and using Robinhood. Why not? You're already on the platform. The user interface is great. All of a sudden, they start announcing within the app itself and also marketing like, hey, you can go ahead and claim your $1,000 for your child and secure their future. Boom, you do that. Amazing. Easy to do. And you can check it right there from the app you already use, every month, every day, every week, whatever it is. That's a great and powerful thing. Beyond that, you also have Robinhood that's positioned incredibly well just because they market probably better than anybody in this business, and they really know how to reach those new consumers. And so I imagine that, if this bill passes, and it probably will, but it might not. But if it does, they're going to do a lot of marketing. They won't be the only ones that do this, but they market more aggressively than anybody out there. Now, beyond that as well, Robinhood does a great job with incentives. So, of course, it's $1,000 from the United States, the Treasury, that's going directly to these newborns. But Robinhood and others as well can add some incentives. Now, some might try incentives like, let's do a 1% match on that 1,000, and that's not going to move the needle much for anybody because it's going to your child that's very young, and it's a very insignificant amount of money. It's $10, no big deal. Instead, what those that are a little bit savvier will do is create an incentive for the parent who is creating their child's custody account. What might this potentially look like? Well, it could be like if you are already a Robinhood user, great, go ahead and create your child's account. We'll deposit $50 in your account, or 30 or 25 or whatever it is. You're already probably going to do it anyway, so they may not need the same level of incentive as they need for those that don't have clients or that are not part of Robinhood. But we'll have to see how that works. Now, for those that are not on Robinhood at all and perhaps don't even invest at all, they can do something very simple, especially as they're going to be very much appealing towards those that are lower on the socioeconomic scale, that only 28% actually own stocks. Many of them have heard of Robinhood, especially those that are of the younger childbearing age, but they might just think, that's just not really something for me. But if they see an ad that says, hey, claim your $1,000 for your child and get $50 for yourself, they'll be interested, maybe skeptical because they'll be like, maybe it's a scam. But that's where name recognition is so important. When they see, oh, it's Robinhood, I know that company. And some will be like, I know that company, I won't touch it with a 10-foot pole, but many will. And so what that'll lead them to do is create an account. And in this essence, this could actually be two accounts. They create one for the child. They probably, if they're on the lower socioeconomic scale, they won't be adding to it. The upper income scale probably will be because they're able to be, and they're trying to do that for their child. But for the lower income, they will also get $50, and perhaps that can be deposited in their Robinhood banking account. That's a feature that they're rolling out, or their brokerage account. Either way, it's a new account with Robinhood. And as they look into this account and they see, oh man, that $1,000 for my child that was invested, let me check on that. It's been like 6 months. They get a reminder. Oh wow, it's up to $1,300. Now, for most of us, that's not a lot of money, but for someone that's very much struggling to get by, they might realize, man, there's power in this compounding. They play with user interface, they play with the tools, and perhaps they think, okay, maybe I need to check out this individual investing out. Now, for many, they probably shouldn't delve into, at least right away, individual stock picking and investing. That can be challenging, especially when you're brand new. You're going to make mistakes and get burned, but they may be very interested in Robinhood strategies, which is that managed fund, which has very, very low fees. And for somebody that doesn't have a lot of money, boy, that sounds really compelling and nice. And so they'll get some more adult accounts through this, but it's not just about those accounts. It's also about network and flywheel effects as well. They, of course, have a credit card. Now, they don't need more people on the wait list, but more people will sign up. They have the banking product. They have the debit cards as well. They, in the future, will release products such as perhaps Robinhood mortgages. Maybe that will be in partnership. Maybe it won't be. But as these children that have these accounts, 18 years in the future, turn 18, all of a sudden they can access funds for education, which Robinhood can be involved in as far as that sort of product, mortgages, starting out businesses. And so there's a lot that they can build out that's very long-term, not near-term revenue. That's very, very good for their ecosystem. But I think that this also accelerates the adoption of Robinhood. I think it's not too crazy to think that they might get 20 to 25% of these type of accounts just because of their advantages as far as name recognition, marketing, and also their age demographics as well. Now, how is it good for SoFi? SoFi, of course, is no slouch here. They have an investing account. I don't think it's a great product, but it's an okay product. But they do have a bank, and natively, they can, of course, have those trust funds. Anthony Noto is one of 8 CEOs in the Invest America CEO Council. It's not by chance. It's not by accident. He is a very good CEO. And so I think SoFi is also positioned very well. Now, we don't know what their interface looks like. We don't know the timing of all these things. There's a lot that we don't know. But one thing we do know about SoFi is they also benefit from the great wealth transfer that's coming. And they also skew more towards younger, more affluent people. Those are not the 28% of people that might come to Robinhood, get that free $50 and see, oh, event contracts. This is fun. I don't love, again, the event contracts, but I mean, that's one of aspects of flywheel that might appeal to those type of consumers. SoFi instead skews more towards those people that are the high wage earners that are having children. And so as a result, those are the ones that are more likely to actually deposit funds on behalf of their children over the years, which helps grow assets under custody in this very stable invest platform that they have, which is a very good fit for this. So this is bullish, I think extremely so for Robinhood over the long term. Short term, it's good. And for the long term as well for SoFi, it's very bullish too. I don't think that they'll get the 20 to 25%, but SoFi might get 5% of the accounts here, and 5% of 3.7 million each and every year through 2029. And if they continue it in the future, if it's a success, that's a lot of other accounts as well, building on top of that 11 million that they already have. And of course, they have a great flywheel there as well. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. I know that there's some out there that think this is a nothing burger. It's no big deal. It's a small amount of money. But I encourage those to zoom out, look at the future, look at the long term. And this is a great thing, I think, not just for the United States, not just for individual citizens, but also for these two companies as well. As always, thank you for watching, commenting, and subscribing. And until next time, happy investing.